Hello again then guys, this is Matt Oliver, a veg gardener in the Global Growth Veg Garden here at Hyde Hall. I'm back in the glass house because it is time to give our tomato crops some attention because they've absolutely romped away with the weather we've had and all the water I've been giving them, and they're time for a prune. And these are what we call cordon or indeterminate tomatoes. And they get their name indeterminate because if you let them and we grow them up a cane, they will keep growing for as far as you'll let them grow to an undetermined height. In a commercial setting, where they're growing tomatoes for a supermarket crop, they'll grow them right up to the ceiling and then start to lay the tomato plant over, and they have a plant that's almost as long as their entire glass house. But for a garden setting, under glass, we'll grow these to about 7 or 8 foot to the top of the cane. If you're growing them outside, then you only want them to grow them to about 4 or 5 foot and only have 4 flower trusses really, because if you let any more than that grow, they won't have time to ripen up outdoors, but you get a bit of a bigger plant indoors. Now, what we need to do when we're pruning these, you can see this plant has gone really bushy, and we need to sort this out, and we need to get this tied onto the cane as well to stop it flopping over. And what we're looking to do, if you can see this on camera, you can see how we've got, this is the main stem here that we want to train and tie in. This is a leaf coming out, going out at 90 degrees to that main stem. And right in the middle of this leaf axil, growing away at 45 degrees, this is a side shoot, so a separate growing tip in there. And we don't want that. So what we need to do, we need to come working from the bottom, all the way up the whole length of the plant. We need to come in with a really sharp knife, and we need to remove those without cutting through the stem or the leaf. Move those like that. Oh, I've torn that one a little bit. That's what you want to avoid doing really, leaving a raggedy end. So we need to remove all of those. Get in here like this, take that one out. You want to be using a really sharp knife, ideally. The biggest ones will be right down the bottom in here. And what you'll find, even might get some growing from below ground, like that. It can come out. You can come out. You can come out. You strip all this off. Another one in there. Bit hard with one hand this. You can see I've completely thinned that plant out now. Then that one stem that's got left, we need to tie that in. Need to leave the main growing tip alone. And you can see we've got some really tiny little side shoots in here right up the top. When they're small like that, maybe smaller than a pencil, you just pick them out, rub them out with your thumb and forefinger. And that's all you need to do rather than cut them out. It's much easier if you get them early. Now we need to tie that in, and I can't do that with one hand. So I'll show you how I've done it on this plant. What I do, I just do a figure of 8 around the stem and the cane, and I'll leave it loose. So there's a bit of play in it, so that when this stem grows, it'll thicken up, get really big and quite woody. And if you really strangle this with your string, do it really tight, that jute twine, that'll cut into that stem and it'll basically snap the plant off at a low level. So we need to give them a bit of slack to grow into. And then I'll do a tie maybe every 2 or 3 leaves. So this is a job now I need to be in here every week, tying in the tomatoes like this. And now they're just starting to flower. Need to change over to a higher potassium feed. So a normal tomato food would be good for these. So that's about it. But a couple of other things I thought I'd show you, is sometimes have a problem with a cordon tomato, is this plant here. You can see they have a tendency sometimes to not always behave themselves, and they won't necessarily always give you one clearly identifiable leader or growing tip, and they have a tendency to break into 2 like this. you've got a twin leader. Now, this is where gardener's choice comes in. We need to pick which one of these two to tie in and take over to be our single growing point, and then we'll remove the other one. But a good tip, you want to make sure you've tied in the one you want first before you remove the one that you don't want. Because sometimes you'll remove one, and when you tie in the one you do want, you'll accidentally snap it off, and then you've really got yourself a problem then, because you'll have to run on, tie in a side shoot from lower down in order to carry on the plant's growth. One more tip you need to be wary of is don't want these getting too hot. On a really hot day, you need to be ventilating your glass house, so doors open, any vents open as well, get a bit of air movement through. Tomatoes are easily heat damaged, and you'll notice that because you'll see the younger leaves will start to twist and contort and go wrinkly, and that's a classic sign of heat damage. That's a clear indicator that you're not ventilating enough in your glass house. So just remember, before you nip out in the morning, throw the windows and doors open, even on a mild spring day, because it can get exceptionally hot under glass. If it's not open, it'll be rocket up to 45 degrees, and that's enough to damage any plant. So there's a few tips on how to grow cordon tomatoes for you, and I've got to crack on because I've got 40 or 50 plants to get through by the end of the day. So I'll see you next time.